Hey, joining us today is an incredible force in the world of business and brand building. Our guest, Tyler Dunagin, is the CEO of TurnServe. He's a proven entrepreneur with a track record of success that's truly nothing short of phenomenal. In just the past few years, he's helped multiple brands achieve over $1 million in revenue in less than 18 months, leading numerous companies to seven-figure success. His efforts have turned TurnServe recognition on the Inc. 5000 list as one of the fastest growing companies in Ohio. He's a visionary leader. We're going to talk all about some of these areas. Tyler, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much. Glad to be here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Your track record is truly impressive. Multiple brands hitting $1 million in under 18 months. What would you say is the single most important lesson you've learned about scaling a brand rapidly in today's market?
I think the big thing is, one, have a viable path in front of you. Make sure that what you're solving is actually in need of being solved. And two, just making sure you have systems and team around you to support that growth, and make sure you have a common goal in mind to where if it's a win-win scenario. So if your clients win and your team wins and then you also win, that's where the real magic happens.
Oh my gosh, amazing. You've been recognized for building a growth-focused culture at TurnServe. Can you explain what that means in practice and what actionable steps a small business owner can take to start creating a similar culture within their own team?
Yeah, just in aligning incentives and just making sure the people around you are also in a position to be empowered. Make sure that they own specific outcomes and they have a lot of opportunities in front of them. And also just, it's not a dead end job, so to say. Make sure there's a lot of opportunities on the horizon. Empowering people, watching them do what they do well, and trusting them to do a good job is really the forefront of what has helped us grow through our culture and everything else. And the business outcome, the revenues, everything else is just a byproduct of how collaborative our team is at the end of the day.
And what do you believe is the biggest mistake entrepreneurs make when they're first trying to grow their brand? And what advice do you have to help them avoid it?
I think there's a lot of hypothetical, and I think all of us have to go through these steps. You start off with a huge vision, a lot of features, a lot of variables. There's so many things you want to solve and cure. And you try to be very clever, and that's where innovation comes from. Don't get me wrong. But starting off, staying streamlined and focusing on one or two core values that you're trying to really drive home, making sure that you add tremendous value to those one or two variables. That's where you could really get traction and grow. And then those additional levers and features or whatever it might be, those add-ons, those will naturally come as you go. But start off way more simple than you think. If it sounds too complicated while you're talking about it, it's going to be way more likely to not work in reality from an operational standpoint. So keep things as simple as possible, measure results, and really clearly define what success is, not only for yourself and your team, but for your customers as well. If this wins, what's it look like? Knowing that up front is probably the most critical part of this entire journey.
I'm chatting with Tyler Dunagin, CEO of TurnServe, proven entrepreneur. Tyler, you've earned a spot on the Inc. 5000 and you've been recognized as a top entrepreneur. What does it mean to you to receive that kind of recognition? And what advice do you have for other entrepreneurs striving for similar success?
Yeah, it's kind of surreal. As entrepreneurs, you don't really stop as much as you should and reflect and just realize things that you've done. Until these moments kind of pop up to where you get to talk about it. It's really just this surreal feeling and it's validation. But, as CEOs, as entrepreneurs, whatever else it is, it's really easy just to have to look at the things that don't go super well all the time, because there's no sense in dwelling on the things that are going really right. So we're kind of naturally wired to fixate on the things that we have to fix or improve. But when we stop and we look at our Inc. 5000 or whatever accolades that come with it, it's just this tremendous reminder of, keep going, keep on your journey, and trust the systems and people around you. And before you know it, you'll be able to reflect a little bit and really just see how far you've came. So for me, every time I hear that, it feels like the first time I hear it, because we really don't stop to celebrate that all the time. But really, I just think it's a combination of just continuous effort, being adaptable, and really just being able to change course as needed and grow as individuals. That's what those accolades and rankings mean to me.
Tyler, you're in an interesting line of work, and we're in a world where digital marketing can frankly be quite overwhelming. What would you say is your philosophy on how a brand should tell its story to create a genuine connection with its customers?
Yeah, I think the experience is the most essential thing. So we always say that quality of life wins, convenience wins. And whichever regard that's in, that could be digital marketing, that could be in how we carry out our services or our team building initiatives, whatever it is, it always comes back down to how the end user feels during that engagement or arrangement. And so for us, I have a very monochromatic minimalist approach. Some of our brands, so TurnServe is our main brand, apartmentpainters.com, apartmentflooring.com, those things, they're very, very dull in the sense of they're not super creative, but they're intentionally specific. And so we really try to target who our end user is, and we specialize. That is probably some advice, and also it kind of spills into direction and initiative to set people up for success. When you specialize on just a couple of things, that's where you can really get actionable results. When you try to generalize across the board, it's going to be watered down. And so for us, it doesn't matter what it is, digital marketing, beyond, knowing exactly who we're talking to, how we're talking to them, and what we're trying to evoke out of that arrangement or engagement with them. That's where we can get serious traction. And that's our approach to any sort of marketing services or relationships that we try to build with team members, clients, suppliers, you name it. And it's especially important in the marketing that we do across the board as we scale these throughout these cities.
Tyler, over the next few minutes, I want to explore a little bit more about your background. I know that you have built and scaled multiple companies, and I imagine you must have an incredibly disciplined routine. What are one or two personal habits or strategies that you rely on to manage your time and stay focused on what truly matters?
I am normally disciplined, not all the time. I think one thing that I learned was to build a schedule, but also I would love to avoid burnout just like anybody else would. Realistically, there's compromises you have to make as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, whatever it might be. Any regard from professional to manager, doesn't matter. There's going to be trade-offs, things you have to do versus what you want to do, and just being very clear and reaching those things with motivation and just following that schedule. For me, I heard this phrase before, and now I live it. Build your schedule how you want it. And you look at that, and most people say, okay, I'm going to do admin work, and then exploratory work, and then teamwork, and then all these things. And it's like from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. One little trick that I started doing, and shout out to Cal Newport and his book, Deep Work, and a few other psychologists that I follow, really breaking up your day to be optimal. Example, having a meeting at 8 a.m. and then 8:45 is your next thing, and then 9:30 is your next, and then intentionally having a break for 30 minutes to reflect, to recoup and digest, and go for a walk or stand up for a minute, whatever it might be. And so intentionally blocking off time to really just digest and think and be on the top of your game is something that I learned. And so very intentional with your time, saying no to a lot of opportunities, as weird as that sounds, and really just following a set routine. You do the things that you have to do every single day. For me in the evenings, it's, grounding exercise, really turning off at the end of the day, but also in the morning, just follow the same routine as much as possible. And then lastly, I would say, carve out time for those unknowns, for those curveballs. Anticipate them, but also carve out 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, whatever it might be, a couple of times a week, where you can go back and work on those things that surprise you in your schedule.
Tyler, lastly, in a high growth environment, not every venture is a success. Can you share a time where a brand or a project maybe didn't perform as expected? And what was the most valuable lesson you learned from that setback?
I think for us, it's been a continuation of just trial and error. I think the most successful companies are the same way. It's only a failure if you stop, right? And so a quick example, when I first started off my entrepreneurial journey, I was flipping single family houses, and one thing led to the next. It burnt me out. I just knew it wasn't for me. I was doing a lot of houses a month and all these things. And I kept on telling myself, like, man, I'm waking up every day and I'm going straight to Home Depot, or I'm going to some project house and I just don't like it anymore. And I felt myself getting burned out and losing motivation. And I kept on saying, man, if I could just do 2 or 3 aspects of this house, it would be incredible. The painting, the flooring, whatever else it might be. Fast forward, when I launched TurnServe in the multifamily space, that's practically what I did. I took out those services that I wanted to do, and I discarded the things I had no interest in doing, and that's what I built a brand around. So it took me going through the process of trial and error, flipping whole houses, and realizing that I hate having 1,000 variables in front of me all the time, and then just focusing on the ones that I can control and make the largest impact. So it's just a continuation of efforts. There's no right or wrong answer a lot of the times. It's exploratory. It's always going in and trying to figure out what the best approaches versus who's right or wrong. And that mentality has just followed us through. It's be going through pain in order to build that culture and the businesses we have today.
I love it. I've been chatting with Tyler Dunagin, CEO of TurnServe. Tyler, you've shared a lot with us, and I know that there's so much more that we can cover. Tyler, how can we get in touch with you and your team?
Best ways on LinkedIn. I'm very active on there. Just my, Tyler Dunagin on LinkedIn, or go to turnserve.com, TURNSERV.com, and get a hold of us.
Fantastic. The link in the show notes make it super easy for folks to get in touch. Thanks so much for being so open, honest, and sharing such great advice with our listeners. You're listening to Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. You can always get in touch with me on my website, syklein.com, or of course, get in your favorite podcast app. Just search for Get Down to Business. Subscribe, rate, review, and share so you don't miss a single episode. Quick break, some headlines. We'll be right back.